Today on the Topic Show, parents sue a Colorado school for secretly transitioning their child. Stephen Colbert says CNN is objective and the audience burst out laughing. Walz had police shooting citizens with paintball guns if they dare break the pandemic curfew. The UAW files charges against Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Shawn Fain, the president of the UAW, talks about going on strike with Kamala Harris. Starbucks pushes out their CEO and brings in the CEO of Chipotle. Mitsubishi Mirage is rest in peace going away. And BMW is recalling an SUV due to a starter issue. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. I see he's quite handsome and brilliant. Ease me, see that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could do me a favor and click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Starbucks pushing out their CEO and replacing him with the CEO of Chipotle, which caused the stock to exponentially explode. And again, because it's just the time we live in, I have to say, not financial advice. Granted, hindsight's always 2020. I should have bought a bunch of stock. It went up about 20%. Ridiculously good for Starbucks. Not so good for Chipotle. Now, this comes with thanks to the OG search engine, which is still alive and kicking somehow, Yahoo Finance Division. And they say, quote, Starbucks names Chipotle CEO Brian Niccol as his next chairman and CEO. This is brought to us thanks to Brooke DePaula, who's a writer over there. And here you can see the ridiculous stock increase. I was wrong. It didn't go up 20 at the time of this announcement. It went up 24.63%. Is that right? Now 22%. It varies. This is the stock market doing what the stock market does. Currently trading for $93.87 per share for Starbucks. And ridiculously good news for them. Which, I can't believe it. Now they say, quote, Niccol, who had been CEO of Chipotle since 2018, will join Starbucks on September 8th. Currently, Starbucks CEO Laxman Narasimhan, and apologies, I'm not intentionally trying to mispronounce it, Narasimhan? Perhaps? I can't. Maybe that's right. Who took the helm in late March 2023, will step down immediately. Starbucks CFO Rachel Raguri, who served as the role since 2021, will be the interim CEO in the meantime. This caused shares of Starbucks to jump over 20%, and a record one-day jump, which shows you how bad the old CEO was. But Chipotle, their stock actually went down by about 12% as they lost their leader. They say, quote, the board made the decision recently, the company told Yahoo Finance, calling it an opportunity and couldn't pass up given Niccol's proven track record. Former CEO, well, I can't believe they had the audacity not to put this in here, the founder of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, stepped down from the board last September. Starbucks claimed that he was not part of the initial recruitment process, but did meet Niccol out of the end of the recruitment process. Schultz says, quote, having followed Brian's leadership and transformation journey at Chipotle, I've long admired his leadership impact. I believe he is the leader Starbucks needs at this pivotal moment in history. He has my respect and full support, unquote. Which, again, Mr. Schultz has saved the company twice now. I mean, he's been called out retiring twice to fix Starbucks as they've had many issues. One of the most recent issues being, well, they got record high costs thanks to the unions. They have a lot of protests because of the unions. So the unions actually they thought it was a good idea to endorse Hamas and praise them. Probably not a prudent business idea or moral thing, but it is, of course, the Starbucks union. So what do you expect? Now, they continued. Hobson actually said, "quote Brian is a culture carrier who brings a wealth of experience with a proven track record of driving innovation and growth. Our board believes he'll be a transformation leader for our company, our people, and everyone we serve around the world." Now, this is also coming as Starbucks not doing great in sales. They said that last month, the coffee chain reported another challenging quarter. The same store sales actually fell 3%, the second straight quarter of decline, while traffic fell 5%. U.S. sales Starbucks fell 2% during the quarter. Over the last year, Starbucks shares have dropped 23%. Granted, hindsight's always 2020 when it comes to the stock market, but it seems that the public has very much better reception of the new CEO and the direction he's probably going to take the company. Again, Starbucks does need some help because, again, it's 110% a luxury item no one on the planet needs. It is fancy candy in a cup. Don't get me wrong, they have one or two good brews. And if I'm in between meetings and I'm on the road for work, well, yeah, I'll use it as a mobile office and I'll just buy the cheapest drip coffee. I think it's Pikes Creek or Pikes Place or something like that. And I basically just rationalize it by saying, that's the cost of having a mobile office and just using my little phone hotspot and work a little bit. I mean, I see the value of the infrastructure in the actual, coffee shop, not so much the coffee, even if it is moderately better than like Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. But yeah, it's one of the easiest things to cut from your budget, and we have unprecedented political and economic uncertainty. I mean, right now, most people are trying to tighten their belts, and I don't see how their sales are going to go up this year. Personally, I mean, anecdotally, I think I do know one or two people who consistently buy Starbucks. But I mean, when's the last time you actually bought Starbucks, and what would it take for you to actually go back there and buy it again? Especially in this political and this cultural and this business environment. Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news: the Mitsubishi Mirage. Well, rest in peace. It had a good run. It was perhaps best known for being one of the most cheapest new cars you can get in North America. I mean, the list price is like 20 something, but you can get them new for like 14 to 15 grand at the dealerships, which is a ridiculously good value for the money. And let's be honest, no one's buying it as a performance vehicle. I mean, I think it's 3 cylinders, and of course, the one that I had to rent. Oh, they had an automatic transmission, which is abhorrent to say the least. Pretty sure there's more horsepower in my Honda, well, obviously my Honda Civic SI, but there's more horsepower in my Honda lawnmower than a Mitsubishi Mirage. But that's not the point. That's not why they made it. Now, this brought to us thanks to The Drive, specifically Andrew Collins, who's right over there. They quote, "The Mitsubishi Mirage is dead after an 11-year run. This means Nissan Versa will be the only subcompact 20,000 new car for sale in the U.S." Which, again, is quite fascinating from a political perspective. The people who say they care most about the poor often want more rules, regulations that actually hurt the poor. And one of the biggest issues that I have with over government regulation is the automotive business, automotive community. When again, every mandate, every regulation increased the cost of goods sold dramatically. And it's one of the reasons there's literally just one sub $20,000 car in North America. I also blame the ineptitudes of the government left and right for causing inflation as well. But there's so few cheap cars in North America now, especially in the United States specifically. And yeah, you also had to blame the EPA and the extra safety stuff as well. There you can see a picture of it. And I mean, I was in a pinch, so I had to rent a car. And that was the one that my insurance provider chose it for me. And it got phenomenal good fuel economy. I mean, it's an ICE engine with 3 cylinders. It weighs darn near nothing, relatively speaking. And it would take about 10 minutes to get up to 60 miles per hour. But again, I think I had it for 2 or 3 weeks. It started every time. It was a pretty darn near bulletproof vehicle from that perspective. I mean, I haven't heard too many recalls around it, surprisingly enough. And it was just a nice, reliable. And again, if you want a new car for that price, that's insane. Now, they say that Mitsubishi spokesperson Jeremy Barnes confirmed the Mirage's end of a watch at car driver announcement. He said, quote, "Mirage is going to be discontinued in the U.S. market, and there will not be a 2025 model. Production will cease late this year. We expect to have sufficient dealer stock to last the summer of 2025. The 2024 Mirage came in 5 trim levels, including a Rally Art one with cute graphics kit." Yeah, I've never seen that. That would be of all the collectible cars, that might, and again, not financial advice, but that'd be hilarious to see in the future, that going to Barrett Jackson. Because again, a high trim level of a car very few people were buying. I mean, only weird folks like me would actually find that amusing, probably. But they continue to say, quote, "The prices range from, oh my gosh, $16,695 to $18,895 before adding the destination charges. And of course, you have the BS dealership fees. The most ridiculous thing, the price included a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and 5 years of unlimited roadside assistance and a 2-year, 30,000-mile maintenance plan of 3 oil changes, 3 towel rotations, and 1 cam filter." Again, by no means a paid brand ambassador of Mitsubishi. I mean, heartbreaking that the Eclipse is now an SUV crossover. When, of course, it should be an iconic sports coupe like in the Fast and Furious franchises. I partially digress. But, I mean, they actually have a picture of the one with the graphics on it. Looks cute and hilarious. Yeah, that kind of warranty is ridiculous. I mean, that's a great value for the money. They also had a combined fuel economy of 39 miles per gallon. How much horsepower did it have? 78 horsepower and 70 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, I was joking about my Honda lawnmower having more power and torque. Maybe not by much. Kidding, kind of. They said that the new 2024 Nissan Versa will still be around $17,820 without destination fees. And that'll be, again, the only one in North America for sub $20,000, which is a feat of engineering and cost to begin with. And it is quite sad to see more and more of these, entry level, low price point vehicles just disappearing from the market. And it was a fun, quirky vehicle. I mean, again, I would never buy Mitsubishi Mirage. I mean, even in my darkest, no, I wouldn't. I'd probably just save up more money to get a Toyota or a Honda, ideally. And of course, they have the option of a stick shift, so that's the way I go. Always have 3 pedals. It's so much more fun to drive. I can't emphasize that enough. More people need to get on that bandwagon. But let me know, are you surprised that Mitsubishi Mirage is, slowly, but it's going away from North American market? I mean, I'm actually, and do you actually think they're actually making a profit at those price points? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Pride podcast, you have parents suing a school in Colorado for secretly transitioning a 14-year-old child. Yet another reason. What is this reason? Reason 9,898,745,423 to homeschool your children, for the love of God. It's horrifying. Should be horrifying, illegal, morally vacuous, mentally vacuous. And yet another example of something that we're told, oh yeah, this isn't actually happening. You guys are overreacting. This never happens. Yeah, no, it's happening more and more. Now, this is brought to our attention thanks to Libs of TikTok. And she says, quote, parents are suing Barrington High School in Colorado after the school allegedly encouraged their 14-year-old daughter to secretly transition into a boy. The school counselor connected the girl with a trans therapist who recommended that the girl receive cross-sex hormones and have her mammary glands removed or breast. Yeah. Well, Libs of TikTok uses a vernacular of breast mutilated, which also I would say that is accurate from a medical standpoint. That is horrifying. Yeah, was it Brighton High School? Yeah, the lawsuits are coming your way. Hopefully the judge isn't a puppet. Hopefully the judge isn't morally mentally vacuous. And can you imagine this happening to your kid? School's doing all this behind your back. Even more concerning if you live in California. Well, Governor Gavin Newsom just signed a bill that said the schools don't have to tell you anything if your child starts to lean a certain way or do certain things or certain activities in schools. That's why Elon famously moved X as well as SpaceX out of California to the great state, or some might argue, the great country of Texas. Or as some people pronounce it, Texas. I mean, this is one of the biggest cultural issues right now. And I think you're going to see more and more of these lawsuits, and this is just horrifying. Heartbreaking. And heartbreaking for the parents, too. Now, scrolling down some of the top comments, and again, it's about 100,000 views, 2.8,000 likes. She actually has a source listening to the Daily Mail UK. You can see some additional details. School spent here. You can see any additional documentations. Now, some of the top comments comes from Planet of Memes, saying, quote, your child cannot take so much as an aspirin without having parental consent. Yet, they go behind your back of parents to do this? It makes sense, unquote, getting 273 likes. Now, I might be a little biased, but I think the person responding to this, to the Planet of Memes, is quite handsome and brilliant. It's me. So the topic show, I said, child abuse. Now, where are the courts going to prosecute this? Getting 4 likes. Not the most likes, but a little biased myself. Cash Loren says, when Trump is elected, he will abolish the Department of Education. Vote Trump, getting 6 likes. Paul Zupa says, the school counselor needs to get a life in prison. As does the trans therapist, getting 25 likes. Live PD Dave says, from 1999 to 2007, Colorado actually had a Republican governor in Bill Owens and was clean, safe, and prosperous. Now it's a complete shithole thanks to Democrats and the surge in pot dispensaries on every corner and criminal illegals running amok. Getting 65 likes and a bonus point for using a word like amok. Good Scrabble word. I haven't thought of that. I haven't heard that word in probably a year or so. Yeah, Colorado also chose to make the devil's lettuce a thing, which I'm mostly libertarian, but yeah, I don't know how much value there is when the whole state is lighting up. I don't know how great that is for schools, and I don't see much of a benefit, especially when they're so. I don't know. We see places like San Francisco and Oregon, and I'm not seeing much of the upside personally. But let me know in the comments. That's a controversial thing in and of itself, culturally speaking. It's becoming more accepted from an adult perspective. But again, if you have a whole community and that's all they do, I mean, kind of cliche to say, but is it the reference right from The Simpsons? But the older I get, the more I can't help but think that she was right when she says, "Someone please think of the children." Now, Evil Texan says grown adults making kids do keep sexual related secrets from parents is called what? 132 likes. Good point. Salty Goat says, "I'm sorry, but this goes way beyond a lawsuit. They better leave that kid alone and learn it fast." Getting 41 likes, which yeah, school should be shut down for this. Again, I'm still waiting for someone to give me an exceptionally compelling reason to have your kid go to a public school. Again, I'm not saying every teacher is going to do this. I'm not saying every school counselor is going to do this. That's quite concerning how many there are. Now you also have Heather007 saying child abuse through the public school system. Homeschool your kids is remedy for this, by the way. Getting 71 likes. I was going to say kind of sad statistic. Yeah, when it comes to child abuse, churches have nothing on the public school system. In fact, the statistics are so overwhelming when they were doing studies on this. Of course, the schools found themselves, oh yeah, these don't look so good. We're going to not do this research anymore. We're going to halt that research. Old School Eddie says, needs to be illegal. Parents are responsible for their children's health and safety, not the schools or the state. Getting 43 likes. Red Wave Press says, sue them into the ground, leave our kids alone. Getting 102. Let's make that 102. Oh, 103 likes right before our eyes. One is from me, though, of course. Let's see here. There's a little comic strip of presumably San Francisco with people naked and doing the pride flag in the streets and the kissing. There's one guy preaching, and one of the sexual people in the streets is saying, "Stop pushing your beliefs." Getting 12 likes. So overwhelming agreement with Lives of TikTok on this issue. It's quite horrifying. There are many adults who think this is a good thing that schools are doing this. They're not, and fascinatingly enough, those people aren't just in San Francisco. But it'll be interesting to see on a political level, will there be any federal laws in our lifetime that prevent these types of instances from occurring? And how might you be able to properly protect your children if you maybe don't have the financial means or they don't have the support around you to homeschool have the situation where you could homeschool your kid? I know it's also hard just making ends meet, especially in the United States these days, as the government causes record hyperinflation and the job market's not so great. I can't imagine the struggle of trying to have one parent stay at home full time and have just having a mom at home full time to homeschool the kids and have to find work. I mean, you have to have a pretty good income or live in a very low cost living area. It's very tough times. And so I know some people they feel like they don't have any other option but to use public schools. But I mean, this is one of the big risks, and we've seen it more and more. So hopefully there'll be some better options in the future. But I mean, let me know, with everything we see now, would you still homeschool your kid? I mean, would you allow them to go to public school? But let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, Stephen Colbert says CNN is objective, and the audience immediately laughs because it has to be a joke. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Colin Rugg over on the X Twitter, in which he says, quote, audience starts crackling up after serious Stephen Colbert tells CNN Caitlin Collins that they just report the news as it is. And yeah, this is hilarious. And ironically, this is the most hilarious thing Stephen Colbert has done in probably a decade. Let's see here.
Trump has kind of been thrown on his heels by this, and he's not really sure how to go after Vice President Harris. He knew his attack lines on President Biden. He really has struggled with how to go after someone who's 20 years younger than him, who is a different gender, a different race.
It's funny coming from the people that cannot actually define gender or what a woman is, what a man is.
Kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. Oh, I know. CNN makes a. I know.
Was that supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
Yeah, because it's mostly biased bull crap. And went immediately viral, getting 11.9 million views as well as 51,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from the Persistence saying, "I look great," getting 9.1 thousand likes. Colin Rugg says, trying to smile through it, And yeah, she looks creepy as hell, getting 2.9 thousand likes. Western Lensman says, even the audience clapping seals couldn't get the lies straight, getting 4.7 thousand likes. Colin Rogue says, that was their genuine reaction, speaks volumes, getting 5.2 thousand likes. Paul Zupa says, the people have spoken, CNN is fake news, getting 2.4 thousand likes. And that's even Stephen, I mean, every audience is a little, they have their preferences. Even Stephen Colbert's audience laughs at CNN, which is saying something. The Trump train says, every liberal Hollywood extra knows CNN is fake news, getting 1.2 thousand likes. SRS84 says, the Communist News Network is a joke, mostly peaceful protest, right? Getting 327 likes. That was one of the best compilations. Livercat Media TM says, CNN is absolute garbage. It says garbage truck in the 1950s. Pretty cool old vintage truck. It says garbage truck today. It's a news broadcast truck outside the CNN office, getting 1.1 thousand likes. Let's see. Vince Langman says, imagine living in that bubble. They literally have no idea that 90% of Americans think about CNN. Getting 769 likes. Red Wave Press says, no one believes they are unbiased, not even Democrats, getting 610 likes. True. America Papa Bear says, everyone knows CNN is a joke, and they are just an activist arm of the DNC. The viewership is evidence of that. Getting 368 likes, which, yeah, I can't but think there gotta be some folks at CNN that desperately want Trump to win. Because, again, when Biden won, their viewership dropped by over 50% at CNN. Like, they were just done. Wall Street Silver says, that was hilarious. They can't hide it, getting 566 likes. Hank says, even the crowd knows CNN is a joke. The only objective thing is that their commitment to spinning the narrative, effing hilarious, getting 54 likes. Oh, there we go. The iconic picture of CNN. So this is posted by Mark, and it says, it would be one thing if Stephen Colbert audience was MAGA, but these are the biggest leftists in history. Watch CNN who watch CNN on the regular. There you have the famous CNN reporter who has a respirator as well as safety goggles, and he's standing in front of there's a city burning, and it says fury, but mostly peaceful protests after police shooting. That is one of the most iconic pictures in broadcast history. Got 100 likes as well. Let's see here. Any other interesting comments? I'll do one more. Dead President show says, as a dog sniffing another dog in the rear, says scientific fact, a dog gets more factual information from sniffing another dog's butt than a human does from watching CNN. Got 79 likes. Yeah, I mean, I know CNN is like the only, I mean, if you go to an airport, usually that's what they have this just turned on. I can't but wonder what percentage of the quote-unquote viewers by the Nielsen surveys of like all the CNN broadcasts, how many of them are people actually actively watching, consuming the media of CNN versus someone just having it on in the background and every once in a while they just turn and go, oh, yeah. And how many active, engaged listeners does CNN have really these days? And never forget, when CNN first launched their CNN Plus app, which, hilarious enough, I did a poll on LinkedIn asking, would you be willing to pay for this? Of about 200 people who voted, and again, it was yes, no, comment, it was the 3 options. Of the 200 people who commented on that or voted on that survey that I did, less than 1%, or no, 1% said that they would be willing to pay for a CNN app. About 200 people. Yeah. Yeah, and when they did try that app a couple years ago, they spent, the acquisition cost like $47,000 per download, like per paying contributor, or not contributor, per paying subscriber. They spent a lot of money on marketing, and then no one really wanted to pay for it, statistically speaking. So it is actually pretty interesting that like even Stephen Colbert's audience, even they are waking up. But yeah, so CNN is somehow still in business. Let me know. Do you know anyone with a modicum of intellect who still watches CNN? Now, I go to their website and I try to tune in just to kind of gain their perspective. But I mean, obviously know they're hugely biased. But how many people really watch to enjoy it? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Tim Walz had police paintballing civilians who broke the pandemic lockdown curfews. And that video from a couple years ago is going viral on social media. Because, of course, it's tyrannical and evil. I don't know who would be more disappointed by this. The founding fathers seeing our country they did this to civilians and citizens, or the fact that civilians and citizens just took it and did nothing. Hard to say in which way they would be more disappointed. Now, of course, legally speaking, I should clarify the citizens should have, of course, peacefully protest using good old cart stock from the good old home. I was going to say the Home Depot. They don't have that yet. Hobby Lobby. Again, those poster boards, the card, they're high quality. But nevertheless, this is coming us thanks to Paul Zupa. He says, quote, Governor Tim Walz had the police use paintball guns to shoot Minnesota residents if they broke curfew by being on their porches during the pandemic lockdowns. And here you can see a video of it. It's about 32 seconds long.
And if
you can see actually have a military Humvee on the street driving there too.
And if you pay attention, you'll hear the police say, get in the house. You'll hear several commands, and then you'll hear, light them up. And then that's when you get the fire.
You see the
we'll play it again.
Jack Boots thugs right there. Surprised they're not wearing red coats.
This is...
Get in your house now! Let's go! Light them up! Go inside now! Get in the house!
Get in!
And if you pay attention, you'll hear.
Twin Cities curfew was up until, or at the time, it looks like it was enacted until 6 a.m. So you're allowed to burn down cities and riot. You can steal from loot from stores. They couldn't be on your porch. Yep. Now this pretty viral got 2.6 million views and 31,000 likes. And one of the first comments comes from X Van Fleet, who is a very I was gonna say I wish I have them on the interview podcast one of these days. This individual actually escaped communism, China, and tries to help warn Americans how foolish they are to actually want communism. He says, quote, did Commie Walz learn it from the CCP, getting 48 likes? You have Kristen and Hema say, quote, they used helicopters to fly over people who were sitting in front of their porch talking to neighbors on Father's Day. The helicopters got on the loudspeakers and circled over people, told people to go inside your homes, do not sit on their own porches. Got 170 likes. Tim Walz says he is a POS, and those cops that did that need to be held accountable. War criminals, quite frankly. Getting 562 likes. However, I'm sure the government investigated themselves and found no one to be guilty. Ali B says a glimpse of what the police state would look like under Kamala Harris and Tim Walz is called communism, folks. Be afraid. Getting 224 likes. Mike B says, what an idiot. You're on my property, not bothering anyone. That's dictatorship. Getting 1,000 likes. Yep. George Sarah says, why hasn't this been everywhere? Getting 788. They get 789. Oh, 797 likes. Jumped up there a couple there. Going down more and more, you have a picture of Tim Walz. Oh, dressed up as a Soviet soldier. So Bill Cuppy says, quote, well, he sounds like a cough joy to be around, just sort of the person who dreads on getting sat next to you at a dinner party. Anyway, here's him back in the 1970s when he was dictator of South American country. He got 307 likes, which of course is a crude Photoshop of his face on a dictator's uniform. And interesting enough, this is not, I don't think that was a Hugo Boss type of uniform. Huh, fun history fact if you are a business or history aficionado. You know which uniforms they made. Celeste Fischler says, so they went through neighborhoods where families were to intimidate and shoot people on their own front doorsteps, but allowed the rioters to riot with zero repercussions for days. Walz sounds like a pretty peaceful and decent guy. Getting 899 likes. Bree says, now we see why his honeymoon was in China. And 350 likes. Michael Morris says every single one of these police officers and their commanding officers should be put in jail. The Constitution was never suspended during the pandemic. This isn't legal or justified in any way. Tim Walz is a piece of shit. Getting 152 likes. Fact check. True. Going down more and more. Any contrarian statements here? Ultra Mega 1776 says, did anyone bother to vet this guy? Getting 38 likes. Emo Titham says power-hungry tyrant turns local police cops into stormtroopers. Getting 22 likes, and not the Star Wars kind. Julian Mayer says this guy has to be bought and paid for CCP comic. Getting 47 likes. Very similar policies. I wonder if this video is any different.
Okay.
Oh, so this is more. This one's extended. The police actually go. They go right up to the door too after shooting him. Let's see. Oh no, Twitter or X is taking a minute to load. More technical difficulties after this week, Elon. Really? Oh, that's a little disappointing. say, though, I was gonna say certain extent technical difficulties do it's part of my employment, so I can never be too upset since troubleshooting and all that kind of stuff. Going down more and more. Do one more. Aaron says, "Wow, this is dictatorship times 100, getting 53 likes." So hopefully that video goes even more viral. Share that to all of your friends because they need to know exactly who they are voted for. Make sure that everyone is educated, actually is voting. Because again, that's horrifying. I can't help but think, well, it's even more horrifying to think that there's some Americans that believe the police are doing the right thing in this situation as well. But let me know, do you think the average American, when seeing that video, would they still approve of Tim Walz? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, the UAW is filing charges against Trump and Elon Musk. Is this more lawfare? Well, yes. One would think they would just spend their time making reliable cars. Of course not. They spend a disproportionate amount of their time actually fundraising for politicians, sitting around and not doing anything, literally going on a strike. Most they do. And I don't think, do you think, and let me know in the comments, do you think it's coincidence the most unreliable cars, by every Consumer Reports or any third party actually review, they're always the UAW manufactured ones. You want a reliable car, you get Toyota or Honda, which is famously not unionized labor, and those cars last, what, 400,000 miles plus? Now, that being said, not everyone in the union shares that Marxist ideology, wanting to get paid more and more to work less and less. They're not all like that, and there's some hardworking, good folks in the UAW. I've met them. I've had family on both sides of the, I was going to say the political aisle, the automotive political aisle, where you have management as well as the UAW, the frontline assembly workers. And yeah, there are a lot of tales of ineptitudes and laziness, to say the least. But again, there are good folks on both sides. Now, going to the couple articles, they say, oh, sorry, there you go. Take a quote. The United Auto Workers Union has filed a federal labor charges against Donald Trump and Elon Musk following comments made during a live stream interview where they discussed handling striking workers. Trump commended Musk for firing employees who went on strike, prompting the UAW to accuse both figures of illegally intimidating and threatening workers. The charges stem from statements made during the interview where suggestions were made that striking workers could be summarily dismissed, a practice that violates the federal labor laws, which is BS to begin with, protecting workers' rights to strike. This legal action has sparked a wide range of reactions, with some supporting the UAW's move to protect workers' rights, while others criticize it as a politically motivated act. Yeah. Is this really about making the working conditions better, which are already, ridiculously lofty, to say the least? Again, there are some really difficult jobs. I'll never forget when GM went bankrupt for the third time. One of the reasons were the massive pensions and the big cost of labor. Well, they're paying someone about $76 per hour to put a tire in a car. $76. Now, that does include the healthcare and the other not direct payment to the actual UAW member. But yeah, about $76 to put a tire in a car. Keep in mind, they weren't even lifting the tire. The machine was doing that. And the machine had, what was it, like 6... it was a specialty machine to actually, secure the lug nuts to the vehicle. So it's a pretty rudimentary, rudimentary labor. And yet they're getting paid so much money to do so little. And yeah, look at it's why I always talk about the UAW being a political, and they're always in the political part of the show. They're one of the biggest donors ever. One of the biggest discrepancies of, actual merit versus corruption. Never forget when Biden had a White House summit to talk about electrical vehicles, he invited 3 companies: General Motors, Ford Motor Company, and Chrysler. And at the time, Biden said General Motors is doing a great job being an innovator making electrical vehicles. At that time, GM had sold like less than 100 EVs that quarter. Tesla was selling over 100,000. Yet they stubbed Tesla because Tesla doesn't use unionized labor, because they'd actually prefer to have employees who work hard, and they reward them with stock options. Working at Tesla's got to be one of the best jobs on the planet. Imagine having stock in Tesla, which, again, not financial advice, but historically speaking, has done better than any of these automotive companies. Bar none. Now, going to some of these top comments, there's got about a mix, 50-50. Therefore I am. Which again, there he is. He says, quote, breaking, United Auto Workers union filed labor charges against Donald Trump and Elon Musk for attempting to intimidate and threaten workers. The UAW has filed a federal labor charge against the disgraced billionaires Donald Trump and Elon Musk for their illegal attempts to threaten and intimidate workers who stand up for themselves by engaging in protected, concerted activities such as strikes. Yeah. That got 261,000. One of the first comments comes from Paul Zupa saying, quote, "This is why many people rightfully despise unions," getting 4.3 thousand likes. Because again, if Trump wasn't running for president, they wouldn't be doing this. Again, the UAW, they gave the official endorsement to Biden, of course, because Biden's been a union guy his whole life. Allegedly, money 10% for the big guy. Oh, excuse me, sorry, didn't mean to say that. Of course. Going down to the lower top comments comes from, what is this? Me Gorge 1967, saying the UAW doesn't represent a majority of its members. Look at their Facebook post, overwhelming support for President Trump. It's the UAW leadership doing this. They're shoveling so much propaganda down the throats of members via the videos and post that this should, oh, gotta make that text bigger. Should be illegal. The members don't get a vote on who the union is backed. They never do. Don't be upset, the union members. This is all Shawn Fain and his union leadership. Yep, agree. Shawn Fain is his right-hand man is literally more left than Bernie Sanders. He's a Marxist. He's also, Shawn Fain is also a federal investigation for illegal practices. We'll see how that pans out. But, yeah, that's true. I actually joined when the UAW was on strike. I joined a lot of live streams, and it wasn't all just support for Biden as well as Shawn Fain. There are a lot of folks who don't agree with what they're doing. Now, granted, this union has millions of dollars in their war funds, their chests, to pay for people not to work, as well as do lawsuits like this. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the actual result is and how much they win, how much Elon just pays to make this go away, maybe, or just settle us out of court. But yeah, it's fascinating to see where they actually focus their money and resource allocation at the UAW. Yeah, let me know. Are you surprised by this? I certainly am not. But let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news: you have Shawn Fain, the president of the UAW, talking about going on strike with Kamala Harris. Because of course, now this comes straight from the donkey's mouth. You got from Kamala HQ. It says, quote, "UAW President Shawn Fain. When GM was on strike for 40 days, Trump is nowhere to be found." Yeah, of course. Why would he? They've been supporting the Democratic Party for decades. I'm talking about the UAW leadership and the political donations. Again, the individual members, yes, they do have people on the left, people on the right. But yeah, he talks about how Kamala Harris was on the picket line, standing with workers. I forgot the statistic. I actually reported about this whole strike. They're getting paid well more than minimum wage just to stand around and do nothing. It's a pretty sweet gig. Now, I usually say the video, they usually have to say things are infinitely to me, but in this case, maybe not so much. But you have Shawn Fain. Of course, he has little signs behind him saying, "Saving the American Dream." Ironic that there's nothing more ironic than the UAW voting themselves out of a job. Because the UAW, again, got Biden elected, who is killing ICE engines, aka gasoline cars, which are the most profitable thing for the big three. The big three being Ford Motor Company, General Motors, and Chrysler. Again, in some instances, they do have revenue shares and profit shares with workers and employees. So now they're making less profitable EVs. Ford lost $132,000 per EV Q2. Again, they will get to a profit eventually. Most companies do. But they're losing a lot of money in those things. They require less rudimentary labor, simple labor to manufacture them. So the UAW is literally voting themselves out of a job. It's one of the most ironic things ever. So Shawn Fain has a poster behind him saying, "Save the American Dream." You, sir, are voting to destroy the American dream. He also says, "United for a strong contract." Yeah, the contract that was record profits while the companies are still, GM and Ford have a lot of long-term debt. We're talking, I think it was like 98 or $102 billion. It's a pretty penny. I should say a vintage pretty penny. And yeah, without too much further ado, let's go back to what does Shawn have to say.
2019, GM was on strike for 40 days. Donald Trump was nowhere to be found. Didn't say nothing, do nothing. Now let's look at Kamala Harris. 2019, you want to know where she was when GM was on strike for 40 days? She was on the picket line, standing there with them. She stood with workers on strike. You look at 2023 in our sit-down strike last year, our stand-up strike, and you look at what was going on with Lordstown workers under Trump got left behind. Their plant got closed in Ohio.
Yeah, why do they close plants again? Because they can't make a profit. There are a myriad of contributing factors, not just the cost of labor, also the EPA, also state taxes depending on where the factory is located. You also have payroll taxes. Manufacturing is very difficult in the United States, and the government is not making it easier. Yeah, sometimes they have to close these plants because they're losing the money left hand over fist.
Those are scattered all over the country, the GM plants. Under Biden and Harris and their administration, they went to work with us in bargaining to save a community in Belvedere, Illinois. Contrary to what.
Well, yeah, when you're getting paid, because again, where do all their millions of dollars in political donations go? Yeah, exactly. Democrat Party, overwhelming.
Trump says, through the IRA, the Biden-Harris administration created billions of dollars to encourage companies to locate battery work in the USA and to partner with unions in doing that. So they would be good paying jobs, standard setting jobs. You go back now in Lordstown, Ohio, where Trump left people behind and they were dispersed all over the country. Under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, workers are now transferring back to Lordstown because they can get a job at the Altium battery plant there. They're bringing people home that Trump left behind. And on top of that, like I said, Belvedere, Illinois, same story. That plant was left for dead. The Biden administration, Kamala Harris went to work with us to.
They also handed him out over $1 billion. Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? Coincidentally, in swing states, all these EV manufacturers got over $1 billion from the government just to help them stay open. Some people might consider that a bribe to vote for you in the upcoming election. Certainly seems like a big incentive mechanism to me.
To find out what they could do, they got billions of dollars put in play to help save that community.
Yeah, from the
government. There's product going there. There's a battery plant going there. And so it's a tale of two stories here. Donald Trump represents the billionaire class and the corporate class, and Kamala Harris has a history and a track record of standing up with working class people. So it makes the decision pretty easy for us.
Yeah, granted, communism and Marxists usually don't read history books. I guess we shouldn't be too surprised they are so historically bad at history. But yeah, not so much, Shawn. Not so much. But maybe I'm alone in this assessment. Maybe the comment section is just filled with all people's support. Again, this is directly from Kamala Harris's HQ. Maybe this is all support her. Maybe I'm the outlier. Maybe, probably not, but let's dive in. One of the top comments comes from Jay saying, "Wrong. Kamala was never in line. Sleepy Joe stood there for a photo op. Donald Trump was calling on the EV mandates to end so that auto workers can do their jobs and make more money. Trump did more for their strike to end than Harris or Biden ever did. Quit lying," getting 93 likes. Which, yep, those EV mandates are crippling American manufacturers. And again, consumers don't really want them on average. Megan GZ says, "Kamala is there for Americans. Donald is there for himself." 16 likes and 19 comments. Were they ratioed? Jay said, "Sure, she cares. She hasn't even said, like, Laken Riley's name, who was murdered and taken advantage, abused by illegals she let into the country," getting 6 likes. Here. Jay has a picture of Time Magazine with her on it saying "the border czar," getting 16 likes. Ted Bear says, "LMFAO, tell them about your fight against fossil fuels, mutilated children, gas and food prices, open border. People need to vote you losers out. Tell us about your plans." And 38 likes. Dennis and Barb says, "Not true. Donald Trump was easily found. He was on the golf course." That also got 38 likes. Gene says, "Bullcrap, Trump was there. Your leadership declined a meeting with him," getting 16 likes. True. UAW has done that before. Again, I don't know. I mean, Trump actually did reach out to the UAW to actually try to build relationships, and I mean, there's a rumor that he's hoping to maybe get an endorsement, which I thought foolishly optimistic, but at least he made the gesture. You also have Thorne saying Democrats are much better allies to unions and labor, getting 19 likes, so 9 comments. Belarus responds saying, "Yet 75% of private sector union workers disagree with you and fully support Trump. This commie geek Fain is just brought on and paid for junior globalist. Kamala is I've never heard of this before. Right there, look up the Urban Dictionary. A brown prop? Oh, that was pop like a ice cream. Never mind. Who refused any independent questions from the media for months while Trump does it every day," getting 5 likes. DYL says, "You know what helps the union workers more than standing in a picket line is a great economy, which they had under President Trump," getting 23 likes. Also, the average American made, $4,000 more under Trump than his predecessor? Just the average hardworking Americans were just just fiscally speaking, just take away all emotions. Just look at your paychecks. I mean, life was better back then. Let's see here. The piano guy says, let's see the video of her on the picket line getting 11 likes. Jackie McCree says, Kamala is a woman of substance. She will make America great again. The fact check, there's not a fact check. Now, this may be true. She may be a woman of substance. I don't know what substances she is ingesting or has consumed. Allegedly, many to get where she is today. Let's see, were they ratioed though? Again, I got 4 likes. No, they were not ratioed by the number of likes, but the number of comments they were. Hunter X says Kamala's a DEI hire with a uber low IQ. Don't get it twisted. Getting 1 like. Let's see here. Unacceptable Charlotte says she's already had 3.5 years. Why hasn't she done anything yet? Getting 1 like. Good question. Let's see here. Jason says he seems nice and says Watchdog investigates UAW president Shawn Fain accused union of being uncooperative. Also under federal investigation. Again, we'll see what the actual ruling is for him allegedly breaking the laws and rules. Let's see here. Like, Kamala Chameleon is trending, or a couple comments around that. Let's see here. So again, you do have some positive comments, but over, I'd say 65, maybe 70% are against Kamala Harris in this regard. Jessica says, nowhere to be found for this difficult questioning policy. It says Kamala Harris hiding from the media for 23 days, getting 7 likes. It'll be interesting. Maybe by the time the video is rendered and uploaded, she'll already have many intellectual interviews giving her brilliant plans to help, turn everything around. I mean, probably not, but maybe. So not too surprised that, again, the UAW historically has been, in bed with Democrats for decades. Now, again, the average UAW member, I actually think they're going to go Trump. Because, again, the average member was making more money, not just because it, didn't have this crazy inflation when Trump was in office. Again, they're making more gas-powered vehicles, which, again, is much more profitable. There's a reason why, all these automotive manufacturers say they're going EV, but they're making billion-dollar investments in gas manufacturing because, again, that's where an overwhelming majority of the profits come from. I mean, Ford Blue, that's the gas part of the company where you have the good old Ford Mustang, the real one with 3 pedals, and a good old Ford F-250, 150, 350, 450 Banana Falcon, all trim levels. Well, that's where they're making all the profit. Again, the Ford EV division that lost billions. So, again, I think the average union member will vote for Trump. But let me know in the comments, do you think it'll be a 50-50 split in the union? Or do you think it'll be even more in favor of Trump? Or do you think, maybe I'm wrong, do you think it'll be majority that are voting for Kamala and Walz in the end? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the business blunder of the day, you have BMW recalling an SUV because the starter motor, well, it just might fail. Which, again, when it comes to BMWs, they kind of do what BMW does. In this case, it's just a start. It's brought to us thanks to Auto Evolution, specifically Marcela Pengiet, who's a writer over there. There you can see one of those BMW SUVs, which, automatic transmission only, so obviously not for me. Granted, they only have 1 or 2 good stick shift SUVs throughout the years, so the hunt will be very hard to find one if I ever do on SUV. But nevertheless, they say, quote, BMW of North America has identified an issue affecting no fewer than 105,588 vehicles produced for the U.S. market. As it happens, the engine starter software doesn't prevent the starter from being electrically overloaded. Whoops. I say first and foremost, the failed starter means you cannot restart the engine. Secondly, the proximity of the starter to acoustic protection material can also lead to a thermal event. Very eloquent way of saying it might just burst into flames. They say that, quote, following several reports alleging no start conditions and localized thermal damage, fires, safety bulletins at BMW America started to investigate it in March 2023. Subsequent reviews pointed to a specific engine starter production configuration. Rather than replacing the starter, the Bavarian automaker's U.S. division will replace the engine starter software to prevent electrical overloading. Affected vehicles were produced from 2019 to 2021 model years, beginning with the 2023 BMW 3 Series sedan. Again, they make some great stick shifts, fun, cars, but I've never been a fan of these names, which sound alien to me, but maybe you can recognize them. The 340i, the the M340i, the M340i drive, iX drive. The remainder comprises the 2020 BMW 8 Series Coupe, Grand Coupe, 840i, 840i X drive flavors, the 8 Series convertible, the 740i, the 740i X drive, the 40i models from the X5, X6, and X7 lines. That's not great. Let's see here. You get a couple. You see the interior. Not that great. Old BMW. Which, I mean, again, wise man once said there's no such thing as solutions, there's only trade-offs. I mean, you're already making a pretty big trade-off. You know this isn't the most reliable thing in planet. You know it's not Toyota. It's supposed to be fast, fun, that kind of thing. And again, for years, BMW has been the butt of a lot of reliability jokes. And it's just one of those things where, again, this hurts brand reputation even more. It's already not known for reliability to begin with. It's going to make customers very frustrated. They're going to have to get this fixed. Who knows how quickly they'll be able to fix it, depending on the dealership allocation of resources. And just not great for the ownership experience, even if it is technically free to get it done to your vehicle. So definitely got to say, BMW not taking, I don't know how this slipped through quality control, but needless to say, it's one of those things with BMW. Got to say, this recall of your SUV is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I really appreciate it. Also, giving me a thumbs up or thumbs down or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.